Hello guys, welcome back to the channel again. I'm currently recording the video for the business environment synoptic assessment module, second exam, practice assessment from the AAT website. I have already done the practice assessment one, which is already available on my YouTube channel. For anyone new for the channel, the descriptions will be on the sections on the instruction sections on the same video here. You'll be able to find the link for the first video. All right. So the business environment synoptic assessment, it's similar to the foundation synoptic assessment from your AQ 2016 format. Now on AQ 2022, it is under business environment synoptic assessment. It's almost same. You got 8 tasks there. You have 2 hours to complete, including some written tasks. And then also you have to remember the part of the exam, since it's written, your results will not be instantaneous. You probably have to wait 5 to 6 weeks for your results to be appearing on the My AAT part of your AAT website. Okay, so here, let's crack on with the exam. Let's press continue. So here, the first question they're giving you here. This task is about different business types and their functions. Identify whether the following statements about business ownerships are true or false. So the first one they're giving you, one benefit of partnership is that the owners, straight away there's a small confusion there, are not personally responsible for business debt. That is not right. Why? Because to have somebody have no personal responsibility for a business debt, it has to be something called a limited liability. Okay, so if it's either an LLP, which is limited liability partnership, or if it's a limited company, there is no personal responsibility for your business debt. So if you're either a partnership or a sole trader, you have responsibility towards your business debt. So it's going to be a false. The next one is a sole trader has unlimited liability. Absolutely right, because anything he borrowed on part of the business, he will be upon him for to be resolved. So therefore, he will have an unlimited liability towards any debts he owed, or she or they owed. Owners of a limited company are known as stakeholders. That's not right. We call them shareholders, not stakeholders. So that is simply a misdirection there. So just be aware of it. A stakeholder means somebody has any interest in the business, either internally or externally. Owner of a limited company will be known as shareholders. So therefore, it is not going to be a stakeholder, or not known as stakeholders. Now next part of it, it's saying about identify the correct type, business type described in each of the statements below. There may be more than one type relevant for each statement. So let's have a look at the first one here. Business types must be registered on incorporation. So therefore, sole trader and partnership don't have to be either of them don't have to be registered on the incorporation. You don't have to worry about that. Private limited company, which is a PLC, must be. The business type does not pay corporation tax. Only the private limited company will pay corporation tax. Sole trader and the partnership will not the limited partnership, because they just ignore that one, because that's a hybrid between those two. Okay, and the third one is business type is classed as an entity on its own right. So here, if I'm going to look at it, a sole trader, the business its own right, and then the owner is going to be a separate one. So we call that dual entity, dual effect there. But when it comes to the private limited company, this private limited company will be classed as an entity on its own right, because it has no connection or no liability towards, or what we call again, no connection directly towards your owners, because the shareholders have no means or limited liability towards the business's debt, or it's only their investment. They lose their investment if the company goes bust. That's about it. So therefore, this is an entity of its own right. A business has decided to relocate to a new factory to optimize its production capacity. The size of the new buildings means they are able to increase production to satisfy the increased demand from their online sales. This will also means increase in staffing levels are required. So now they're asking you to do select which functions of the business the following statements related to. They're saying here finding a suitable location for the factory. Let's see what are the answers are. You have operations, finance and operations and biz and the human resources. When I'm going to look at it, I ask myself a new question. The thing is, when it comes to location, you also probably require to find new workforce there, because if I'm based in a certain part of United Kingdom and I want a new factory somewhere else completely there, therefore I need one for the building. I'll probably have to invest whatever is in there. It's going to be fine, but also you require people to work in there. You may not be able to transfer some of the people who's already settled and working on a different area to here. So therefore, it is very important. You have to identify it is as the operations, which will do the day-to-day running of it, and the human resources, which will allow you to find the right amount of people to work in that place there. So the answer is going to be operation and human resources. Next one is finding suitable premises in the preferred location for the new factory. So here they want to find suitable premises. That means something is already pre-built, not building from something new. Or maybe if you do so, what do you need to do? You need to find how much that's going to cost you. So therefore, you also have to consider finance has to be a part of that one. But also, what else you need? Because you also need some sort of a way how you're going to run the business. Therefore, it needs to be the operations as well. Because it's a factory, it is the part of operations. If they're going to be a warehouse, that will be part of the distribution. So you have to remember the difference between operation and distribution. Operations is mostly the manufacturing side of it, production side of it. So therefore, it is going to be operation department plus the finance department. And look at the last one here, finding a suitable app for customers to use to track their orders. So for that one, you definitely need some sort of an IT support. Plus, you need to have some sort of a people who knows what's going on in the business also, like the people in the operations again, because they're the one who's going to be involved in the day-to-day running of the the products within the business. So therefore, we're looking at here, or you have information technology, and then also how about operations. So that's fine. Why we're not using distribution, people may ask. Distribution may happen after that. This one is how to track their orders. So the orders can be tracked as a part of operation, because production will normally send it to the warehouse, and then warehouse probably send it over to your customers. But then again, it's very important. We have to look at it from the perspective of the operations here, and obviously information technology will allow you to use the app, or to develop the app, and to make sure that shows them every part of their order, how it's going to be processed, how the payment's been taken, how that's going to be delivered, and everything, so on. So that's the end of it. Press answer. Let's move on to the next one. So the next question is all about finance function. It is its information requirement and sources, and its role within a wider organization. So we have to be very thorough with the theory part of the business environment unit here. So here, you work in finance function within the head office, and your organization has recently expanded its operations, take over a number of smaller businesses. Capitalism. You are not used to having a service provided in a different location. So they are not used to having service provided in a different location. It is suggested an email is sent to everyone providing information about the role of the finance function. So there they're asking you here, complete the following statement about effective communication by selecting the most appropriate options on the options of the complete the gaps below. So what you need, information should be what? It has to be some sort of a way you can understand it. And then also it doesn't have to go too big, because imagine that you send an email about 15 pages worth, no one will bother reading it. Like you're reading a terms and condition of something you're buying or something you see online. You just scroll down to the bottom and you tick, oh, you accept the terms. It won't happen. People will get definitely bored with that. So you have to be very clear and concise, not comprehensive. Correct is obviously right there, but concise is most important. And then it should also meet the needs of the recipient, not made of the sender, need of the sender, because I can send whatever I like to send. It does not what they want from me, because this recipient is the one you have to target. The people who are working in the new businesses, that we need to make sure they understand this in a manner it's very easy to what do you call put through to them. So it's be easy to communicate, no, but it's still to the need of the recipient there. So I think that should be the answer. Now let's look at the next one here. Identify whether the following statements about role of information within the finance function are true or false. So now again 50-50 chance, but then again we will put the rationale knowledge into action here. So now useful information is relevant and appropriate. What do you think it is? Is it true or false when it comes to within the finance function? Because useful information, it's not always going to be relevant, not always appropriate as well, because not all the information is relevant to that scenario. So therefore, it's going to be false. If they say can be relevant and appropriate, that's fine. But they say relevant and appropriate, it just doesn't give the enough scope for that one. So I'm going to say it is not right. The next one is non-financial information is not important in the work in the finance function. Again, if they say that for working within the finance function, non-financial information is not important. No, we cannot say any information is not important. Why? Because certain part of non-financial functions like human resources side of it. Okay, so if I say my holidays, that's not part of the finance function, but it is also important. That information is very important. And our communication methods, very important. I know you work in finance, but there is non-financial information. But therefore, you have to think it is going to be not important. That's wrong because they're all important there. Now let's look at the third one. Information produced by the finance function will help managers of the business to make better decisions. Yes, of course it will make, because the information produced. And then you may ask me, oh, Mo, if it looks like here, it says will help. Yeah, of course it will help. We're not saying shall or should or can. If I say will, it possibly give you like a complete, like it's a perfect scenario, but that's what we expected because the information produced by us, it should help them. Okay, so it will say it will help them. We'll accept that one. So I think it's going to be fine. Now, next part of it we're going to do here, it is all about expansion of the business. Means the business is struggling with financial solvency. Obviously, you know what happened here. When you're expanding business, you buying new businesses, you pay those people who owns the other business there with cash or other equivalents. So the business is coming to us now. So that is going to give you some sort of a cash crunch. We will not have enough liquidity left in the business. We may raise more liquidity by operating the new businesses we acquired. But for time being, we need to solve the current crisis of the solvency. So now they're looking at it. Finance director has suggested that it would be good to focus on the business solvency and the efficient working practices. It has been suggested that top tips could be shared throughout the organization to help everyone understand how they can contribute. So here, let's look at that. There are two actions that could support financial solvency and two actions that could solve efficient working practice. So there should be one there, I think, yeah. There should be one there which might not be applied to either one of them. So let's see here. There are 5 options. They're saying here, maintain all machineries regularly to ensure sales target can be made, can be met. So here, that is not going to help with your solvency because obviously that's always going to be about efficient working practices, because therefore if you keep them all maintained, like serviced properly, cleaned properly, that means there will not be much downtime when it comes to damage or repair or anything like that. The machines don't just fall apart. You need to make sure you keep them on a tip-top conditions. That can be only done by maintaining it properly. So it is coming under working efficiency. What's the next one here? The source suppliers who offer extended credit terms. So that means if you manage to secure longer periods to pay back your suppliers, that helps your cash solvency problems because you don't have to owe money straight away when you're buying goods on credit. So therefore, that is really good. That will help financial solvency. How about the order inventory when it falls to the minimum level? So that scenario, we don't stock up too much there, but we only order the inventory when it's required. We'll reach a certain level. We'll call that a buffer stock. But that is a really good example of effective working practice. It's not going to help you with the solvency because you still can get it for credit. So it's not going to change much of the information there. Offer bulk discount to maximize profit. That doesn't help at all, isn't it? When you're going to look at it, when you give you bulk discount, you lose your profit. So it's either this or that. It won't help you with either. It won't maximize your profit at all because when you give discount, you're losing your profit. Rent machinery that is only used occasionally rather than buying it. Yes, that will help you with your solvency because imagine a capital expenditure may cost a lot more than your revenue expenditure. Imagine a machine might cost you £50,000, but it might cost you only £1,000 a month to rent it, or rather rent it because I don't use that occasionally. If I won't use that perpetually for a long time or for a long-term period, then it's good to buy that. But if you use rarely, you should not have to buy that. You have to think about renting it instead. So, which is going to help you with the solvency. So these are the answers I'm assuming should be fine. Now, let's look at the next question. Your hours for works are 9 to 5 p.m. With an hour for lunch each day. Your manager has suggested that you attend college and has asked you to take a look at your work schedule to identify best day for this one. The work schedule below details the days when the routine task must be completed and the amount of time each task takes to complete. So if you look at that here, every time you do some work here, if you look at that here, Monday, you have work every day. So Monday and Thursday, daily, this Monday to Friday, this will be that one. But Monday and Thursday, you do the processing purchase invoices. Therefore, these 2 days are out of question. And then also, if you look at that here, on Tuesday and Thursday, you do 2 hours. You have to do twice weekly. Therefore, these 2 days, you already committed 3 hours there. Okay, but then again, you're looking at Wednesday, which is not involved in any other scenarios, either apart from this and these two. That is 2 hours worth of work on Wednesday. And look at the Friday and Monday. If you look at the Friday, we have 1 hour, 3 hours now, and one more 4 hours. Monday, on the other hand, 1 hour, 4 hours now, and plus one, it's 5 hours. So if I'm going to put that in a piece of paper and write down how many hours I'll be working for the whole of this week, what are the things we do, we'll find Wednesday might be the least busiest day for you. So that might be the suitable option. So if you look at that here, identify the day in which you will be the busiest with routines and the number of hours spent. So here they're asking you, what is your busiest routine? So busiest one is going to be Monday. If you notice that here, this one 1 hour, this one 3 hours, so it's 4 hours, and one more here, that is 5 hours. That is the busiest for you. The second busiest will be Thursday and Friday, because if you look at the Thursday, yeah, 1 and 3 and 4 there. And Friday, if you look at 1 plus 2 here, 3, and one more here is 4. So these 2 days will be most busiest for you. The least busiest one will be the Wednesday one. So here they ask, identify which day is best for you to attend college based on your workload. We have decided that's going to be Wednesday. And then what is the next one we have here? Hold on. Three. Oh, also forgotten about it here. This is done daily. Answering email, it takes 2 hours a day. So in that case, if I'm looking at it, it's done twice daily. So therefore, every time I'm done it 1 hour, if I do it twice, is 2 hours. So 2 hours plus 3 hours here, 5 hours, and one more is 6 hours. So I thought I read it somewhere before about this question because somebody actually said to me, This question was the most trickiest one because they have mentioned about this twice weekly. Now I noticed that why this question is tricky, because when I read it, it didn't sound right to me. When you work an 8-hour shift, 9 to 5, and that means take an hour break, and you have still 7 hours to kill, and you work only 5 hours. I don't think that's a very efficient way of allocating work for you. 6 hours is understandable, gives you a 1 hour downtime. You'll be able to do this and that when it's required. Okay, so 5 hours, it's going to be too less. Imagine that is the busiest day, and every other days you're working very less. So basically, you've got not much work there. So that is the option there. Now, then asking you what is the next one? Identify what action can be taken regarding the routine task on your college day. So they're saying in this scenario, finance team must be, what do you call, finance task must all be completed. So should be allocated to another person. One is the option. Second one is all tasks can be moved to another day. And the third one is a cover will be required for some tasks. So what is the routine task? If you have some routine task we missed out on Wednesday, for example, you say preparing reports and answering email. They are the only ones we're going to miss out now. Do you think it's best to think about giving that to somebody else to cover on that day, because they may have already work? And since you have downtime on other weeks, for example, on Thursday, you have plenty of downtime. I think it's best for you to move that to another day, because still it's your job. You will be giving a day release to go to your college. Still fine, you'll be getting paid for that part, but then also you'll be able to do that one other way around. Because if you go look at the answering email, you can just answer the email on the day you coming back to work. So most of you, if you're on day release, like some of the students I work with in the day classes, they're on day release, they won't get something covered for them like everything. Sometimes they get partial work covered, and the rest of that they have to do on the following day, they go back to work there. So mostly this is the most appropriate answer. Cover will be required. It's impossible, because imagine that you're working full time and finding somebody to do just one day of your work, they'll just push it to another day because it's the most appropriate way. Now, task number 3. This task is about corporate social responsibility, CSR, ethics, and sustainability. So now what we have to do, make sure we have to read a little bit of our statements now. They're given to us, and then we have to decide whether they are going to be appropriate for what is being given to us. So identify the statement which best describes sustainability in terms of business activity. So the first one they're saying here, it involves activities that will only use up natural resources. Straight away, will only, that's not right. Next one, it involves payments of additional cost for using polluting resources. It is not the best description of it. Let's look at the third one. It involves activities that do not use up natural resources. Okay, so in this scenario, when we are sustainable means we don't take everything from the natural resources. We probably have to use something within the environment. It's just going to be balancing it out. If I use the natural resources, for example, fossil fuel, taking all the water from the river, probably use contaminants or anything like that, it just does not help you. So it's the best description, sustainability in terms of the business activities, not to use up all the natural resources. So we leave some behind for our future generations as well. Now, next one. The business you work for has staff suggestion scheme to improve sustainability. You and a colleague have been discussing a number of suggestions. Identify 2 suggestions that you could put forward to improve sustainability. So here, if you look at that here. Okay, yeah. They ask you 2 suggestions that you put forward to improve sustainability. The first thing here, reducing waste from canteen, encourage staff to switch to electric cars, install motion sensors in the office, reduce the number of car park spaces to encourage staff to use public transport. Now they're asking here, they won't, the business you work for has a staff suggestions scheme to improve sustainability. You and your colleagues have been discussing number of suggestions. So they're asking here 2 suggestions that you could put forward to improve sustainability here. So for us, anything to involve staff, for us, it is not what we're going to look for, because encourages staff to switching to electric cars. It's not always going to be very feasible because they're very expensive. We put it down as a suggestion. Everybody go there. People will turn and say, you know what are you talking about? I can't afford to buy that. And then obviously it is not something will allow the staff to be a bit more free with it. But then again, you're looking at the wasting, reducing waste from canteen. Anyone can do that one. You can reduce the amount of waste you throw down in the bin there, or recycle them, or put them into compost. That's a bit easier to do. And then also installing motion sensor light in the office. It is all right because I can suggest that one, because I walked into the office, light should come off when I go, when nobody's working there, when it's idle, the light should go off. So that is another option to improve sustainability. Reduce the number of car park spaces to encourage staff to use the public transport is also similar, because the staff should have some sort of a feasibility, they can come to work. So if we change that to now, so the staff have to use public transport, you wouldn't know how far they probably live away from the business. So there is no way you can suggest him, okay, this is what you need to do. We're going to let you, not enough car parking space, and people end up leaving there because obviously they cannot use the public transport to travel into the businesses. It is not always is going to be productive if they put something to be affecting the staff, how comfortable they are working for you, unless they provide their own transport, which is not going to be even feasible anyway. Now, next one, they're saying here, identify which one of the following concepts does not form part of the triple bottom line principle that encourage sustainability. So if you look at that here, we call them the 3 Ps. It is going to be people, planet, and profit. The fourth one, it's not here, which is price. The fourth one is never a one. There's only 3 triple Ps, they call it, or triple bottom line. It's going to be people, profit, and planet. Nothing to do with the price there. Now, next one. The business has decided that the best suggestion received to support their sustainability initiative is to install solar panels. They also need to ensure this initiative supports their overall business objective to maximize the return to shareholders in the long term. You have been asked to cost the initiative and have identified there will be additional initial costs that have been not included in the current budgets. These initial costs to be covered by grants that are available from the government when the project is completed in the following year. So now they're asking you complete the following statement by selecting the option below. So they have to be saying this initiative will reduce profit, so less will be available to distribute to the shareholders. But what are you going to do? Will you should do it or should not do it? Because for me, I have to think about it. Even though it reduces the profit, so less will be available to the shareholders, the other initial cost, which is not included in the budget, they're never going to be a part of the cost calculation, because this is not going to reduce it further down because they can be covered by the government grant. So we are expected to take the hit anyway, even though the profit is going to be less for the shareholders. Now, for long term, they will not lose out because we'll be more energy efficient when it comes to the solar panels installed in the business. So I will say we should go for it. Okay. Identify the statement that best describes the AAT code of professional ethics. So now asking you here, identify what is the best statement. These are the set of rules must be complied with. Oh, that's making it very strict now. The next one is, these are the set of principles that guides the members to do the right thing, because this is not law. It is a code of professional ethics. So it is good to say it as a guide for people to do the right thing. Oh, you have to be, what do you call again, showing professional competency, due care. You have to act with integrity. You have to act with prudence. So many things are going there. But then again, these are all guides. So you need to follow those guides. Probably that is the right answer. Let's see the next one. It's based on law, must be followed for members to do the right thing. I know they want to do the right thing, but this is not a law. This is not like a Data Protection Act. This is not like what do you call again, the Equalities Act. This is nothing to do as it is, because it's just a guide, a principles that guides the members to do the right thing. So that is the right answer. So now the next part, we're going to look at it. It asking you here, they saying they give you 4 of these. What do you call uh, statement. On the statements they have given us, either it's going to be matching your integrity, objectivity, professional behavior, or professional competence. So now the first part, it is making unbiased decisions. So that is what we call as objectivity. Integrity means it's being honest and straightforward. Objectivity means you don't have no bias in your decision making. That means somebody not come and tell you this is what you have to do. You have to use your mind to make up the decisions there. So this one is going to be objectivity. Following accounting rules is going to be what? Professional behavior, because we have to behave according to the rules there. So that is going to be called behavior. Consistently applying high moral value. So that is the one I said to you about, being honest and straightforward. So that is going to be integrity. Keeping up to date with the accounting rules is going to be your professional competence and due care. The next one. You have recently started work in the payment team of Bob Limited, a building contractor. You identify a number of invoices that appear to relate to the installation of a swimming pool at the home of your manager. Okay, so there you go. There is going to be some sort of a, inappropriate things going on there. You know that the last person in your role was dismissed by your manager for speaking directly to the finance director about the issues in the office, and she has already told you to make sure you don't step out of the line like the last person did. So there is a problem, definitely. So now they're saying here, complete the following statement about fundamental principles, selecting the correct option to complete the gaps below. So they're saying here, this should be what sort of a threat? This is an intimidation. If you look at that here, the manager is intimidating you, saying you don't step out of line. So we had to be a bit careful with that. The threat should be also challenged, because if you look at that here, if you ignore that threat, we cannot go on forward because you become an accomplice in there. You cannot discuss this with friend because that is going to affect the confidentiality. But if these things needs to be challenged, there is the right channel to challenge these things, but you will be learning about those things as we go along. The next one is identify the 2 actions you should take from the following list. So from that previous scenario, prepare the report for your manager, ignore the invoices. I cannot do that. Speak to the finance director directly. Yes, like the previous person has done it. Also, it didn't help that person, but also you have to do the right thing. The correct thing is speak to the financial director. And also, you don't ask your manager about the swimming pool, because obviously if you ask that, then it also is going to be, what do you call, you tipping that person off. Okay, so they call that tipping them off, because when you ask that, they know that you know about it, then obviously they may make some adjustment, like they're getting rid of the previous person. Then you will allow this thing will go unchecked. But then also the good thing is AAT is here to provide you with advice in this kind of a sticky situations, help you with to make the right call in towards. That's why as a member of AAT, you will be well protected and well supported, and you'll get the sound advice when it's required for you. Okay, so that is that answer for that. Now let's go to task number 4. Task number 4 this is about processing, bookkeeping, transaction, and communication information. Task contain A to F. So here, if you look at that here, some of them written, some of them are, like just choices there. So they're asking you, you work in the accounts department of Eco Cups Limited, a company selling lightweight, reusable plastic cups. Eco Cups prides itself on only selling high quality products. It was approached by a new supplier, Fab Cups Limited. The supplier was new in the market and offered Eco Cups both trade discount and prompt payment discounts, which made it cheaper than its existing supplier of Eco Cups. Eco Cups obtained a quotation for 1,000 cups. The 1,000 cups are a list price of 1,960 pounds. But the FAB Cups agreed offer a trade discount of 20% and prompt payment discount of further 10% if the payment received within 10 days. The quote also stated the delivery would be free. As a result, receiving this quotation, the purchase order was raised. A purchase order and the relevant documents can be viewed in the relevant sections to the right. You contact at FAB Cups is Fabio Massey. Prepare a letter to Fabio, identify the errors in the existing delivery note and invoice, suggest a course of action to resolve these matters. So what we're now going to do, that's a 12 marker. Click on the reference button here. Look at the part here. You will have all the relevant information it's required now. So now, what is the thing here we have? This is the purchase order. On the purchase order, the amount they sorry, this is the following the purchase order. So on the purchase order, just read it carefully here. Give us a little bit of a minute just to absorb this information, because this is the purchase order. It says purchase order here. They have said that, okay, £1.96 per unit for 1,000 units, 1,960, 20% trade discount, and that gives you no charges for delivery, and you have to pay £1,568. But then again, when it comes to your actual delivery you received, the goods were sent the same items, it's fine, but they're saying the quantity you received, it's 994. They're saying here, comments, one box of 6 cups were missing and 2 boxes were damaged and unsealable. These items were noted on the delivery note by the supplier. So they're saying here, a couple of items we received, the boxes, they are damaged. But how many boxes they have ordered? Did they say how many boxes were there? No, they didn't mention anything about boxes anyway. So I'm assuming these items were noted. 6 items were damaged, missing, and 2 boxes were damaged and unsellable. So, so the boxes are in 6. So therefore, they should give you 12 items, I think 12 cups worth of discount, because those boxes are damaged and because of that they are unsaleable. So here when you look at the invoice now, you have some problem. Who's the person we're going to speak to? It's going to be sent to for the discussion of who's your contact? Where's the name of the contact here? Okay, your contact is Fabio Marseille. Yes, I found that, Fabio. So we're going to type an email saying, okay, on the letter, you must be clear and structured appropriately. So what do you need to do here? The structure has to be done like that. On a letter, you have to start with dear Fabio. So this is the person you're going to speak to. Okay, so you just say like this way. On the first scenario, you explain what was the initial agreement. The initial agreement was that, because whatever it's here, this is what it is. Yeah, thank you for supplying the new eco cups or whatever they call it. Yeah, super light eco cups for our business. You say that way, whatever it is there. But then they're saying here, thank you for supplying your product uh, for our business. You start with that way. And then also on this scenario, you also can say what was the initial agreement. In our initial agreement, why that's wrong? Oh, initial, I'm missing an I there. Agreement. We have agreed to a trade discount of 20% and the delivery charge was meant to be waived for this order. Upon receiving the goods, upon receiving the goods, there were 6 items missing and 2 boxes were damaged, therefore unsaleable. And here it says there, these were noted in your delivery note. Despite all the previous observation, your invoice received with multiple inaccuracies. I'm doing in my own way, okay? So you can list those inaccuracies, yeah, as follows. We'll say trade discount of 20%, 10% is applied instead of 20%. And then also say delivery charge of 15%, £15 was included, which is also contrary to our previous agreement. Now what we're going to tell that person, we cannot alter what was the initial invoice was, apart from these facts. So here on the invoice, when we receive 1,000, that's fine, it's absolutely fine. But the discount and the delivery charge should be waived. So it should be coming to a value of £1,598. But what you also have to tell them, it is important, they have to send you a credit note for the differences. Yeah, because they already submit the invoices for that, or we can ask them to resend a new invoice. Okay. And then also we have to remind them, could you also raise a credit note for the missing items and the damage box? So we say here, it will be, I will be glad if you can send us an amended invoice with all the previously agreed terms, which should come to for the value of £1,568. Could yourself also arrange for a credit note to be issued for the missing and damaged items? Dismiss. Dismiss. Thank you for your kind assistance in this matter. Please do not hesitate to contact me in case of any further queries. So here, now we have to close with a salutation because you're knowing Fabio, because you said that person's name, you're going to say yours sincerely. If you don't know the person you contacting, you start with DSO madam, or you finish with yours faithfully there. In this scenario, you're saying yours sincerely, and then you're going to look at your name. What's your name here? Because they haven't mentioned that today. So let's go back in the reference and check what is the name of you. It says here, they haven't said a name here. So we're going to say accounts. Okay, so Mr. Joe Locks is easier to put it that way. Okay, so we've done that part now with a little bit of a writing skills involved there. So now let's move forward to look at the next part. In this part, they're saying here, the purchasing manager does not think the standard of service from FabCups has been acceptable, and without permission from the directors of the EcoCup Limited has posted the following message on the EcoCup's social media account. Don't we all try to do that? Yeah, I would open up a fake account if I'm going to do something like that. Yes, of course. This is funny, especially they're doing what's happening in the current what do you call social media age, what people use social media for. So that is absolutely hilarious when they actually put that information down here. So here they're saying Fab Cups are an absolute joke. Their products are low quality. They charge so much more than they promise. Oh, of course they've done that, but we should not scream out about our suppliers that way. Identify whether each of the following could be a potential consequence of this message for Eurocups. So they're saying here they may lose Fab Cups as a supplier, but this post will not have an impact on whether the other suppliers wish to work with them. Yeah. So what do you think it is? It's going to be possibly, yeah, you know, say no impact whether the other suppliers wish to work with them. It will have other suppliers because people actually troll through. Yeah, you may lose, but this post will not will have no impact. That is not right. If they say no impact, that is absolutely wrong because people may put away by the wrong, or what we call again incorrect what do you call reviews, because I read all the negative reviews. If I'm buying something online, I don't look at the positives, I look at the negatives, because that one probably much more truth, truth there instead of the positive ones, because positive reviews you can buy them now apparently. So therefore I would not trust that all the time. So I'll look at the negative the reviews there. So possibly they will impact other suppliers working with them. FabCup are under duty to respond, and so the profile of the both companies will be raised. All publicity is a good publicity, it's not right. Because all publicity, not always a good publicity, it could be a bad publicity, because even their response and they say something and then it can lead to a word of war there, which is not reason. It won't be a professional behavior, and that is not something appropriate for a business to engage in. If it's a third party, private person, they can get away with it. For a business, you need to have that a high set of standards applied there. So the answer is going to be false for that as well. Now let's look at the next one. Now, the next one, it says here, the following purchasing managers post, the company has decided all the companies must be trained in effective communication. So very important. Now we have to talk about that. Identify which one of the following statement is correct. The social media is not an appropriate tool for use of the business environment. Not right. Social media could be used to your great advantages as well. You can do so many good things in social media. You can make so many positive impression about everything's to do with your business and the company. So it is not the right answer. All employees should have access to social media account of their employers. so they can share their thoughts with the public. Now, it's not going to be all employees. It can be only done with the designated people, so they know how to make sure they use it appropriate way. And all employees means you've probably seen sometimes like a common account's been left with charge of multiple people and they abuse it. You probably heard about the civil services, and they even posted comment about the government, making mockery of it. Of course, even though that was true, but that's not appropriate. They don't expect to behave in that manner. That is not correct. Social media posts are not subject to any rules or regulations, so the business can post comment without risk of legal action. That is not true, because social media can be used part of way they can sue you for slandering, misinformation, fake news, anything like that. As long as there's no evidence to back it up, you may end up in a lot of legal trouble. So you're not going to be taking that lightly. But then look at the last one. Social media can be an effective form of a business communication. Absolutely right. I use that as my YouTube channel. YouTube channel is a social media, and I use that to reach to wider audience. And that is also an effective business communication for me, for mine. Even if I'm doing it as a service, it is also a good way of communicating. Okay, so that is a really good option here. Now, Eco Cups Limited has just received a payment of £3,600 from a customer. This is in relation to an invoice that was issued for £4,000. So they're now looking at it, identify whether each of the following statement could explain the difference in the payment, could or could not. So they say here, the customer has returned goods worth of £400 and has paid the net amount of the invoice and the credit note. So it is expected, isn't it? If they have bought for 4,000, returns £400 worth, so they only left with 3,600. That is the amount between the net amount of the invoice and the credit note. Yes, that is fine. Okay, so net amount between the invoice 3,000, 4,000 and the credit note 400. So that could explain it. What about the next one here? Customer has taken advantage of prompt payment discount, has therefore settled the invoice in full. Yeah, could be as well, isn't it? Because if I given them 10% prompt payment discount, the customer remove that 10% from there and pay the rest. And all we have to do now, send them a credit note to acknowledge the prompt payment discount. So that could be explaining it. Now let's look at the next one. Customer has made a part payment towards the bill and still have £400 outstanding. Could be. Imagine in your Sage software modules in the past, when I was teaching that on level 2 in the previous qualification, you used to get something called a part payment. So you have an account balance, the customer pay part of it. They say, I'll settle the rest of them later. Absolutely fine. So this is a potential reason that could explain this answer there. Now, next one is a customer has taken advantage of a trade discount, has therefore settled the invoice in full. That's not possible. Why? The trade discount get calculated on the first time when they create the invoice. Unlike the prompt payment discount, trade discounts already applied. So the amount, what we said, the £4,000 should be already taken account for your trade discount. So it will not be allowed to take it off again. So therefore, that is not a reason I can think of. All right. Now, next one. Another customer has just returned an order of 500 extra large eco cups. Invoice for this was £580. Identify which day book this will be recorded in, because a customer sending your goods back to you, it is a return, sales return. So therefore, it needs to go in your sales return day book, because if it's you sending back to FabCup, that will be a purchase returns day book. But in this scenario, it is going to be a sales return day book. Okay. Now the last one. Identify the impact of processing this transaction will have on each of the following items. So when you send goods back to yourself, to your suppliers, that will have a different effect than when you receive goods back from your customers. So when you make a sales, that sales will increase your revenue, therefore increase your profit. But when you have a sales return, that will become a negative of sales. So that means it's going to reduce your profits. So here they're saying here, income in your profit and loss statement, what is that going to do? It is going to reduce because your sales is going to be net sales is going to be reducing. But how about the assets in your balance sheets? If you look at the assets in your balance sheet, what also going to change now? We are expecting to receive less money from them. So when we receive the money from the customer, that money, it will be on my bank account as less amount now. So that is also going to decrease my assets in my balance sheets, because for me, I don't know whether I can use those products or not, because the goods were sent back to you. We don't know exactly whether they can be resellable or not. If that is going to be scrapped, I'm going to lose some of my inventory as well. So therefore, we're not sure, but the cash itself is going to be reduced now. Now let's look at the next question. Now we're going to look at task number 5. On the task number 5, this is about control accounts, reconciliations, and using journals to correct accounts. This task contains part A and B. So now, Spooks and Sparkles Co. is a business supplying fancy dress costumes. It has a credit balance on the payables ledger of £17,648.76. The balance on the payable ledger control account is £16,692.74. The following differences have been identified. So they have said that here, these are the two balances and it's already entered here. Okay, this is the payable ledger. This is the balance board down on the credit side, and the payable ledger control account is this amount, and that is the balance board down. So both of them may have some sort of problems we need to find out and correct it. So they're saying here a discount receipt of £165 was recorded on the debit side of the individual supplier account in the payable ledger ledgers, but on the credit side of the payable ledger control account. So when you're going to look at it here, when you receive a discount from my suppliers, it needs to go on the opposite side of this main balance. Why? It will reduce the amount which is owed to my supplier. So if they say here, the entry has to be on the debit side. It has to be on the debit side. They're saying here the discount received of 165.05 was entered on the debit side of the payable ledger. So this is correct, but this one is not correct. Why? They haven't entered on the credit side. How I'm going to correct it? So here I'm going to say discount received. So I'm going to click on here. A discount received, now it has to be posted on the debit side. But also there is a problem, because if you enter that on the credit side, we need to remove it by entering once in the debit side, and you also have to enter it one more time to put the right amount back in there again. So £165.05 multiplied by twice, that is going to be giving you no, not in this one. This is the payable ledger. Payable ledger is fine. So here, this one, purchase return, it's going to be £330 and 10 pence, because the ledger control account is where the error is. Payable ledger is absolutely fine. But now let's look at the next one. I need to probably remove it, but I don't know how to do that one. Oh yeah, I just untick it. It's gone away. Okay, now let's look at the next one. A purchase return of £1,286 and 12 pence was included in the payables ledger control account, but was missed from the individual balances in the payable ledger. So therefore, the purchase return also have the similar effect as a discount here, isn't it? Yeah. A similar effect as a discount received. Why? Because the goods is coming back to your suppliers. So when you're sending back to the suppliers, you have to pay them less now. So therefore, you will reduce the balance we owe. So we're going to say here purchase return for the value of £1,286 and 12 pence. So now can you see here the figures are getting updated automatically. Both of them are now equal, but there is one more error. They're saying here a transposition error was made when entering the purchases into the day book. It was recorded as £2,345.52, but it should be £3,245.52. So therefore, the difference between them, it's £900. If that is going to be £900, we recorded less than what it should be. So we need to add £900 on both of those accounts to get the right amount, because this will not cause an imbalance. Because can you see here now? These are already balancing, but these balances are already covered by what we call a suspense account on when we recording it in my trial balance. But here, the third one, it's going to be a transposition error. That transposition error has to be accompanied by the difference between those two entries, which is £900 into two decimals. Please make sure use the decimals, because everything else is being used as a decimal here. I could have just put 900, expect for better. Now I will still stick to making sure, since everything else is on a decimals, we use decimals accordingly. Okay, so now that should be that one. The answers should be 17,262 and 64 pence there. So just to make sure, these error, this one is an error of omission, this one is a reversal or means the entry on the wrong side, and this one is a transposition error. So one of them is being incorrectly entered. The suspense account would have been created and accounted for, but the missing amount will be going on the credit side because it's an entry less than what it should be on the same side. If this being other way around, this 900 will go on the debit side. Now, look at the last part of it here. Spooks and Sparkles have produced a trial balance as at 31st of December, and a suspense account will with a debit balance of £879 has been created to make the debits equal to credits. So now here, identified which two of the following could be the possible explanation why a debit balance existed on the suspense account. So here, the amount was on the debit side, yeah? So let's consider each one of these facts. First one, a purchase of an asset worth £879 was recorded as an expense. Asset account is a debit account. Expense account is a debit account. It will not cause an imbalance. Therefore, no suspense account there. This is an error of principle. So this is definitely not an answer. Let's have a look at this one here. A discount allowed of £879, which is an expense, which is a debit entry, was recorded twice. No, hold on. Discount allowed, isn't it? Discount allowed account. Discount allowed account. Yeah, it is an expense. Yes, it was recorded twice in the receivable ledger control account. So what is that going to happen to you if you enter something twice in the receivable ledger control account, which is going to be a debit entry? So that means your debit is going to be increasing on their side. So therefore, it's a ledger control account. So it's going to show a higher balance on the debit side. But here, suspense account with the debit balance of 879. Discount allowed. Oh, yes. It is, yeah, it is understandable, because let me bring you a T account to show for that. Yeah, because it's easier if I showed you that as a T account. So let's quickly bring my good old Excel to assist you with it. Right, new. Okay, so I'm just going to share the screen as slightly different. I'm going to share the desktop instead. So here, this scenario, I'm going to post it as a T accounts here. So here, Merchant Center, underline, side left bar. Okay, so I'm going to use this as a appropriate example for you. So here, if I say from the day book, this is going to be discount allowed account, and this is going to be your RLCA. Normally, RLCA balance will be here, sales day book, because there's a debit entry. When you're going to record the discount allowed, because it's an expense, we're going to say RLCA here. But this one will be RLCA, means say discount allowed. Okay, so that is going to be twice on this side. Therefore, it will reduce a debit account to a lower figure. So if I've done it once, it's fine. But if I've done it twice, what it basically doing for you, the debit balance account will be reduced by a further £879. So that could be a reason. So that is totally understandable. But now let's look at the next example. On the next example, they're saying here a purchase return of £879 was recorded twice on the payables ledger control account. But remember, this is an opposite effect. So here, purchases return, and we're going to be PLCA, payables ledger control account. Payable ledger control account will be this side. Normally, the balance is on this side. When you have a purchase return, purchase is an expense. Purchase return is going to be an inverse part of it. So it's like an indirect income for me because I'm going to pay less to my supplier. So it will be a credit entry. So I'm going to say here PLCA, and then here we're going to say purchase return. So if I enter it twice, purchase return again, if I've done it twice, it will increase or not increase, it will decrease the credit side. So suspense account will go on the credit side of my trial balance to counter for this extra entry you have made there. So therefore, it's very important to draw this out and suggest which way it should tilt your scales. So therefore, if this is true, this cannot be true for this particular scenario. Your suspense account will have a credit balance on this time. And now let's look at the last one. The last one for the least. So I'm going to copy this again, and I'm going to show that to you again, how this works. Sorry guys, 1 second. No switching. Rent expense of £439.50 was recorded as an income. Normally, when you have a rent expense, we'll say bank account and rent expense account. So normally we'll say bank credit 439.50, rent expense 439.50. This is how we will enter it. But now in this scenario, we recorded that as an income. So here they say rent income account will have 439.50. So both entries were entered into the credit side. So there's no changes need to be done here. So therefore, what happens now? Your credit side is more than double, because normally a debit side was deprived of this 439, but the credit side was included extra 439. So the difference between them two will be the double that amount. So that will be an appropriate answer. So for correcting this, what we do, we have to debit this account once, and also we have to debit the rent income account. Okay, and the suspense account has to be done twice on the credit side, so it will remove the suspense balance. Okay, so that makes more sense now. Now, press answer. Now move on to next question. It's a short question anyway for 7 marks. They're giving you here principle of contract law. This is something you learn extensively on your level 2. So on the level 2, they're talking about this task is about principle of contract law. So saying here, which one of the following institution is the highest court in the UK? Obviously, you know, it's your Supreme Court. You have a High Court and Supreme Court. Court of Appeals can be for any level. You can have a magistrate court or whatever is there. There is also a Court of Appeal to accompany every decision making. Okay, but the highest institution is going to be Supreme Court, and they'll have permanent judges who sits on a bench. Will have more than one judges available there. The next one. Jordan buys collectible games cards, and hears that Lydia, a fellow collector, is selling a rare card through her online shop. This is the timeline of events. First of October, Jordan sent Lydia an email and offered to buy her card for £100. 1st of October again, Lydia received this offer. 2nd of October, Lydia posts a reply to Jordan on accepting this offer, asking him how he was going to pay her. but it's just only precursor. There is no binding contract yet. 3rd of October, Jordan saw another copy of the same card online on eBay for £50. He bought this card immediately, rang Lydia. Lydia's phone went to straight to voicemail, so he left a message stating you didn't want to buy the card from her anymore. So then again, on 4th of October, Jordan received Lydia's letter of acceptance. Okay, so here Lydia saying, oh, I'll send a letter to you saying, oh, I accepted the offer. But now the question is going to be this way. So here the first one is, which one of the following statement about offer and acceptance of contract is correct? When an offer and an acceptance are made in a business context, it is presumed that the parties did intend to create a contract. Okay, so it is something when you do that, you only intend to create a contract. You haven't made a contract yet. Okay, when an offer and acceptance is made, social context, it is presumed that the parties did intend to create a contract. No, it doesn't make any sense there because it's there. It's nothing to suggest they're going to do that way because there is no contract of such when it comes to the social context. When an offer and acceptances are made in any context, it is presumes parties did intend to create a contract. No, that's not right because it is different your business and your social context. So now they're saying here, identify whether the following statements about contracts are true or false. The first one, an advert on eBay is an invitation to treat. Of course, yes, you can either accept it or not accept it. It's fine. I've seen goods sold for £1 million for no reason, but it's just an information. You can either buy it or you can move on to something else. It's not necessary. You look into that, you have to buy that. So it's an invitation to trade. There is no valid contract as Jordan revoked the offer when he called Lydia on 3rd of October. That is not right. Okay, because they're saying here there is no valid contract as Jordan revoked the offer when he called Lydia on 3rd of October. But it does not matter to him. It does not matter. There is no valid contract as Jordan has not yet paid for the card. That is not right. Because if you look at that here, this is a collectors they're doing on the online gaming shop. They offered for £100. They received the offer. Lydia posted a reply on accepting this offer, asking how he was going to pay. Okay, so therefore, that is an expected. They're saying here there may be a case of a contract there because you offered and she accepted it. Okay, so therefore, it's because it's not paid for it, it doesn't mean it doesn't have a valid contract there. So it could be perceived as a contract. There is a valid contract as an acceptance took place on 2nd of October when Lydia posted the letter, because Lydia has actually posted the letter, posted a reply to Jordan on accepting this offer. And then, after she done it, Jordan changed his mind there. So here, this is a valid contract there because he offered and she accepted there. But now they're asking you, Jordan is not denying they had a contract, but Lydia insisted there is a valid contract between them. So now what they're going to ask you, identify the statement that explains the reason Lydia may claim damages to compensate for the expenses incurred, to ensure Jordan is not a better person by breaching the contract, to place her in a position she should have the contract been performed. Because for her, if she was on the other side of the spectrum, she also expected to fulfill that contract. So therefore, she will be able to claim damages on this scenario. Okay, answer. Again, there's the written task there, guys, because I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about it, not too long, but it's some of it we can just talk about it. All right, because I don't want to prolong the video for more than what is required. So here they're talking about, this is about bookkeeping systems, receipts and payments, and the importance of information and data security. This task contains part A to D. Elise is a yoga instructor. She has set up her cloud-based accounting system on her mobile phone. When she incurs expenses, she pays using the mobile payment app, which stores her card details to allow payment direct from her phone. When she visits customer, Elise raises an invoice in her accounting app and takes payments using a mobile phone payment app or by bank transfer from customers. Alice makes point of always ensuring the customer is invoiced and has sent payments before leaving the appointment. Okay, so that is very prudent of her. All of the Alice's business transactions are processed through a business bank account, but when she needs to take money from business to pay personal bills, she makes a transfer to a personal account using her online banking app, and then use the accounting app to record amount taken as a drawings. So now she does it automatically transfer the money, but then also use the accounting app to record the amount taken as drawing. So they're saying here, identify 3 ways in which Alice is benefiting from using the digital technology. Obviously, you can say here, what are the things she's using up to make her life better. Obviously, she recording that all straight away because it's a cloud based. You don't have to worry about books, banks. They don't have to carry everything around there. Everything is in your hand. All the payments are done very securely. You've done it through the phone there. You can check whether money came through or not. Then also you're looking at, you need to make sure the risk of non-payment or any sort of that tardiness on there, you'll make sure the money is already through to them. And then also when you transfer the money between accounts, also there is a transparency to it, because you can use your app straight away to transfer money on the banking app. Well, then on the accounting app, you can record it as a straight away, as a drawing there. So it just reduce the money from your accounting app as well. So it is basically use whatever which allows her. She's on the move with the mobile phone. Then asking here, Alice's stores. Alice stores her client's name, address, email address, phone number, and health information on a spreadsheet on her laptop. Her laptop is not passport protected. That's not good. She often leaves it on the kitchen table in the apartment she shares with 3 friends. Identify which 2 of the following statements are true. Alice does not have to worry about data protection. Her as a business is very small. Completely not true, because she has to be, even if she has 1 customer details, she has to make sure they're protected. Alice should never keep client data on a spreadsheet. That is also not right, because I can keep it on a spreadsheet as long as I can protect it. Alice should protect confidential information by a password protected spreadsheet containing client information. Yes. And she also should protect the laptop by putting a password there, keeping it in a secure place. Don't leave it on the kitchen table. Keep it locked up somewhere in your cupboard, or just keep it in the bag, which is out of place. Nobody can see that directly. It's hanging about. So that is the 2 answers. I think it's going to be right. Now, let's look at this next one here. Kira uses a cloud-based accounting system and has an alert that a bank statement has not reconciled. The system has automatically and correctly allocated all payments received to the correct invoices, apart from the following. A customer invoice, £318, but they have correctly take the prompt payment discount of 10%, have only paid £286.20. Okay, so therefore, explain what actions Kira should take now. So what she need to do, she needs to go into the accounting system, and then what she had to do, she has to record a credit note for the prompt payment discount she required, and then the rest of the amount you will have to put it as a payment account, and then we will automatically reduce the prompt payment discount from it. So that is a way of doing it one way. Okay, then also you may be able to go into the payment section and simply do the amount they have received, £286.20, but the rest of it you can write it off as a prompt payment discount on the same time. The next one they're saying here, state 3 ways in which to use the cloud-based accounting system that has advantages to Kira in this scenario. When it comes to the cloud-based software, what is the best thing about it? Because you can amend the transactions on the go. When something's already been automatically done, all you need to do is just wait for the abnormalities and then clear the abnormalities, and it will clear the rest of it for you, because you don't have to worry about doing it by yourself manually. And then also it is also very important, she can raise the credit note straight away as well for the prompt payment discount. So instead of waiting for paper-based work going through there, she'll be able to reconcile the bank account straight away. And then also, because it's cloud-based, you can do most of the transactions by comparing your online bank account and then update with your cloud-based accounting system. So you don't have to wait for the physical bank statement to arrive. So the time it comes to you, you just have to wait until end of the month. But this way you can do whenever and wherever it's necessary for you to do, you should be able to reconcile your bank statement. Now, I'm just going to put just some answers there just to make sure the computer recognize I'll put some answers there. Okay, now let's look at the last one. That's not far, 14 marks for this one. So let's look at the external business environment. Now, this question, we have part A, identify two of the following that must exist for a market to operate. So to operate a market, what do you need to do? Suppliers, buyers, business, sellers, competition. In a market to operate, you must have two things only: somebody to sell and somebody else to buy. Even when it comes to external business environment, without these two factors, if I have one buyer, no seller, it's no point. And it's no buyers, but lots of sellers. It's not going to work as well. Market environment has to be either buyer and a seller. They both need to exist in there. They are the at least element of it, the fundamentals of it. You don't need to worry about the competition. You don't need to even have a business or a supplier. So it can be anybody. Identify which one of the following situation is likely to cause an increase in demand. I love this word because it's part of the economics. I was reading a book about economics, and it's been extendedly either on demand and supply. So this is funny. We are going through this in accounting as well. So they're saying here, identify which one of the following situation is likely to cause an increase in demand. There's a general reduction in cost. Household income raises. The retail price indexes raises. So if you look at the first one here, if you have general reduction in cost, that means the goods is going to be produced in enormous amount. So the demand is going to come down because there's no much there, so much in there. People don't want, I don't want that. I have too many of it. So there will be not such a demand. But when the household income rises, you have more money. That means the items they want to buy now, it will be in demand. Like maybe I'll be able to buy something for £5, but now I have £10. I have demand for buying more goods. I may buy two of it, or something new I can buy for that one. So that is the likely reason to increase in demand if your income rises. The retail price indexes rise, it does not increase the demand. It's also when the retail index prices rises, it will always bring the demand down. Okay. Identify whether the following statements about uncertainty are true or false. So they're going to talk about uncertainty. So here, first one is uncertainty. Uncertainty is same as risk. It's not. It's nowhere close to that one. A risk is something you can take. Uncertainty is you don't know what's going on. Okay, so that is false. Uncertainty means you're not able to predict an outcome. Yes, because for you, you don't know whether it's going to happen this way or the other way. Risk is you think it might be still happen. It's still possible. It may be sometimes go opposite way, but you're taking a risk. That's what the word it is. If I say I'm taking a risk, but I'm not uncertain, it won't match the same narrative. Now let's look at the next one. Uncertainty is the possibility of something being different to expectation. Yeah, means you're not sure about it. It's uncertain, isn't it? So it is understandable. That will be the truth. Next one. Identify whether the following risks to the business are internal or external. So if you look at that here, employees leaving to go to a competitor. So that is something within the business. We are losing people. I'm leaving this business, go to one of the competitors, go to another business. But that is internal concerns. It's a risk. Data theft as a result of hacking by an international operation. That is also internal because our data, it's been exposed. So we have to think it's an internal risks there to the business. How about the last one? New competitors in the market as a result of change to the international trade deals. It's nothing internal about it because they're people from outside. So the outside people will be external risk. Now, Globe Limited has recently signed a contract with a company in Malaysia who uses currency known as Malaysian ringgit. That one, it's what do you call again? It was in news for many years, few years back, about the 1 MDB or something like that. It is like a pension pot. The prime minister there basically, extorted most of the money out of that one, and then obviously he's got arrested. The government changed, so many things going on there. But that currency was in the main uh, the main concern was there was the currency, because the way the currency was dealt, it's what caused that problem. So they're saying here the exchange rate has changed from £1 to 5.5 MYR to £1 to 5.2 MYR. So they're asking you here, identify the statement which explains what has happened. So the pound has appreciated against ringgit, or pound has strengthened against ringgit, or it has depreciated against ringgit. Because here, for £1, I used to get 5.5. Now I only get 5.2. So therefore, pound has not been increased or strengthened or appreciated. It has been depreciated because we lost value. If in case the pound to ringgit is gone to 6 ringgit, that means it is okay, because that way the pound has become strengthened against ringgit, or it has appreciated against the ringgit. But in this scenario, it's a depreciation. Identify which one of the following situations will occur due to the change in exchange rate. Imports from Malaysia will cost more. Import from Malaysia will cost less. There may be less demand for export to Malaysia, because if you look at that here, you have to think about it. If I'm going to pay for 1,000 the ringgit worth of goods, I used to pay less amount, because if the pound was strong. But if the pound depreciated, I end up paying more to satisfy the cost of that country, because they're not going to sell it that initially in pounds, because we have to convert their currency into pounds. Therefore, this is going to cost us more. In case the pound has appreciated, that means it's good news for us. I will be able to buy more of that for less of my money. Okay, so this is how the exchange rates work. Now let's look at the last one. The last one, they're saying here, these statements true or false about tariffs. The tariffs are charged by governments on goods and services entering a country. Yes, it's true. Because when the goods are coming in, they put a tariff on there. You call that a duty. Okay, that duty will add more value to that goods when that's going to be sold, and creates a revenue to the on the government side of it as well. So they're saying here the tariffs are charged by government on taxpayers. No, it's not charged on the taxpayers. It's charged on the people who's importing those goods from abroad. Okay, so therefore, the other one will be paying it, not the taxpayers, because we pay our VAT. That's nothing to do with your tariff. The tariffs are charged by governments on goods and services leaving a country. We don't call that a tariff, because that is not for us. Because when we're sending the goods away, the recipient country will charge the tariffs on that scenario. Okay, so for us, we don't have to worry about that one. When you send the goods out, it cannot be charged from the people who's sending it. It's only the people who's receiving it, they can be charging it for it. So now we have done everything here. Now press answer. Everything's done. Let's submit it and wait for the results. Not bad. Okay. I'm even surprising myself there. I thought to make one or two mistakes somewhere there, but that's fine. We managed to do it fine, but obviously the human marks questions, these two will obviously, because of the written task, you expect to have at least some sort of a, expected mark loss there with the way they expect you to do it. So it's very important, guys. This is theory intensive. Please read your, business environment book in great details. Do practice papers from your publishers. Then of course, do enough revision before you go on to sit for this exam, because you may get questions from the previous modules you have done, like your principle of bookkeeping control, introduction to bookkeeping, and then the element of principle of costing. Those all units can be tested in this unit as well. So it's very important you do that bit there to get it right. Okay, so guys, that's it for the day. Thank you for tuning in. Of course, please look forward to further videos from level 2 type of exams, because I've done every exam from the AQ 2022 and your AQ 2016, which is available on the AAT website. My next part for level 2 is going to be to find some other assessment like green light test from your AAT website and do them online and see whether I can bring some quick, like a short videos, like 10 minutes videos, 15 minutes videos, just give you some chance to practice those kind of different scenarios, and helps you with getting a really best out of your assessment. And again, guys, be sure to like and subscribe. And without you guys doing it for me, I will be nowhere. And of course, I'm really enjoying doing it, and hopefully getting this done. Whole of the level 2, it's itself is going to be a personal achievement for me. I certainly appreciate your patience with that, and thanks for your comments. And then please make sure share this video to others, the peers you're studying with, your colleagues, and anyone wants. Just make sure, just say, oh, check out Mouse AAT website. He's explaining the exams for you. That's fine. I'm not doing much of a teaching, as said to you, because I can only do that. I'm only allowed to do this at the moment. And of course, hopefully I'll be able to do some more contents there. And then I'm also looking to delve into YouTube Shorts very soon as well, where we'll be discussing one question when you post it on the post there, and I'll be giving you an answer for that in a short format, which you can watch it from your mobile very easily as well. So you don't have to worry about using your bandwidth of your data trying to watch a 2-hour video. Instead of that, you just watch a minute or two worth of video doing 1 or 2 questions here and there. Okay, guys, all the best. Take care, and I'll see you, legend, another time. Take care. Bye bye.